Claudiu Murgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspire podcast. Welcome back to a new episode. Please visit spiritualinspire.ca, leave a comment, watch previous episodes, and support the channel if you are able to. My guest today is Karen Abrams. Karen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
So as you know, I usually do my own research on my guests because the discussion has to be interesting, exciting. And I listened to one of your previous podcasts, and you mentioned that when you were 3 years old, your parents got divorced and your sister kind of got together, made an alliance, and left you out. How much that incident affected your future development and the perception of your surroundings?
I think it's one of the reasons I became a healer, because that feeling of being left out, which is such a kid thing to do, right? The two older sisters kind of gang up on you and decide that's what's going to happen. And we have since become close. But what that did for me was give me this need to include people, to listen to them, to acknowledge them, to create a space for people in my life when they talk to me, when they're in need, when they're not in need. And I think that was a really huge moment for me in my life. I mean, it went on for a long time. So, you know, as kids do, as kids, you know, I think they were like 6 and 8 years old when that was going on, something crazy like that. So they had their own, you know, whatever they were dealing with it. I didn't really have privy to any understanding at all. I just knew what was going on with me. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that has changed my personality, actually, because I really love people. And I'm really naturally curious about them. I love to listen and be of support. And I think that's probably the first seeds that were sown.
Great. And in a way, you answer my second question, because I wanted to ask what's your relationship with them today? So you never had the thought of payback time or anything like that, because you evolve into a healer and a much aware spiritual being. So you didn't have to do that.
Well, and also they could always beat me up, because my older sister was 5 years older than me. And then my younger sister, or the next sister down, number 2, was 3 years older than me. So they always had more muscle and height on me. So that wasn't really a way I could go. And I actually, you know, what's really funny about the whole revenge thing, I had a little brother and we're very close. We're still very close. It's nice to, you know, when you have a lifetime relationship with somebody, that's you don't really realize when you're a little kid that this is going to last for a lifetime. You don't know anything about how anybody's going to change. You have no clue. You're just in the moment with them and experiencing them. And so, yes, that has definitely changed. And, you know, many of us have gotten married and had kids, and, you know, children bring in a whole new dynamic into a relationship too, that adds a level of closeness and understanding. And you also have the goods on them if the kids want to know anything. So yes. I guess I should have used it for blackmail, and I never thought of it.
And you know, like in any relationship, especially blood relationship, anything can go, is 50-50. You can stay close with your siblings, or you can just grow apart. And there are many instances of this type of relationships. And to be honest, the proudest thing me and my wife is the relationship our boys have with each other. And they never beat each other. It's like 5.5 year distance between them. They never fought. They were gentle. They played together. Even nowadays, they watch the same movies together. They have a bowl of popcorn and they enjoy it and they discuss it. And I have my heart enlarged with joy when I see them discussing, even if I'm at the distance, you know, observing them, how they grew up in the men they are today. I think that's the biggest satisfaction we as parents have.
Yeah, no, that's really great. Are they older now? Are they in their 20s?
25 and 20 respectively. Yeah.
Wow, that's, you're in there. You're in there. My daughter is 16 years old. So, and we tried to have another kid, which I would have loved to have done. But that didn't happen. And we have one, and she's just remarkable. So we really love that. And we get the cousins, everybody together, so she can feel like she has siblings. And actually my eldest sister has one child also who's younger actually than my daughter. So my daughter's kind of become a big sister to her, which is very sweet. And then the others are kind of big brothers and sisters to my daughter. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. And these relationships and what happened to you and between you and your siblings leads me into the subject of self-forgiveness. I think people still don't understand how important it is to purge oneself of guilt for actions that impacted that person and others in the past. So how do we do that and merge into self-love?
Well, one of the most powerful understandings of forgiveness that I've ever had before came from doing this work, Theta Healing. And I remember going up into a meditation and asking what it was, because I don't know about you, but I grew up with a non-definition of forgiveness, which was, it takes time. Just give something enough time and you'll feel better about it and it won't matter anymore. And but that takes 10, 20 years. That means that everything that's ever happened is going to take another 10 or 20 years. It seems like it's not so efficient. And so I remember going up into a Theta Healing meditation and I asked, what is forgiveness? And I got this image. And the image was of my hand, as seen here, with and a ball, like a spiked ball going down into it. And my hand clasps it. And then to the point where I don't feel it anymore, right? I'm so used to the pain, it numbs out. Unless you move a certain way, right? You get triggered. And then I saw my hand open up, and then the ball came up, and then the whole hand healed. And I went, oh, it's about letting go of the pain that someone causes you or that you cause yourself. And once I had that definition, it really changed my perspective on so many things that I believed were unforgivable, and I've always thought of myself as a nice person, but when someone really hurt me, I was like, I'm not going to talk to you again. How could you, not like a minor hurt, but like a major, like heartbreak, that kind of thing. I was like, how can I talk to you again? This is just, what you did was unforgivable. And that really opened me up just to understanding that, we're all real responsible for our actions, right? And I believe there's an afterlife, and I believe that we have a life review when we're done. I believe that we get to feel our effect on others, both positive and negative. And so for me, and I don't tell anybody else to believe anything else, they can do what they want. But to me, that's important. You need to be able to know what your effect is. And when you can let go of somebody's pain or the pain that somebody caused you and still know that you're responsible for your own behavior and that they are responsible for their own behavior, that's a whole different thing. Because I think my thought also about, or the old definition I had, was that it makes what they did okay, that it makes it okay that they hurt you, that they get a pass for it. And my feeling was, no, you don't get a pass for it. I don't think you need to be punished for eternity or anything like that. But my deepest hope, if I'm right, is that we all get to learn in a very loving way what our effect is on others. And so for me, that kind of checked it off for me and made it easy for me to forgive people. And even people who, you think you could never forgive, like political figures or people who did, perpetrated genocides and, different things like that. You're like, how could you ever forgive that person? That's like the worst thing you can do in the whole world. And it's like, oh, but can you let go of that pain they caused you? And it's like, oh, yeah, I could do that, and it changed me a lot,
Yes, and a couple of things on what you said. So even having the Bible, Yeshua's teaching about forgive your brother 7 times over if necessary. And I'm sure that when he said brother, he didn't necessarily refer to the bloodline, but because he considered everyone sisters and brothers. So to anyone who upsets you, forgive him as many times as necessary, because hopefully he will learn from his mistakes and he will understand that you gave him a second chance to right himself. And regarding the political figures and those at the top who are historical figures also, who made a lot
Right.
of
Yeah.
mistakes and committed a lot of atrocities. Um, it is my
Yeah.
understanding now, with the experience I have, is that they came with a purpose. They came also, they had their own karma to get rid of, but they came with a purpose to open up
Mhm.
our eyes to certain things that were run in the society, to reveal certain
Mhm.
structures, to make us aware of certain circumstances. So if you look at this from that perspective, and at the same time you
Mhm.
have the understanding that we are eternal beings and it's just an avatar who is dying, but the soul
Mhm.
is eternal, then your
Mhm.
life perception changes and it's maybe easier to forgive.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It's so freeing. It's so freeing to forgive somebody and just because, I know we've learned, through the self-help movement that forgiveness is about you, it's not about the other person. And when I came upon this definition that I shared with you, that really made more sense than ever to me. Am I willing? Because I think sometimes we get so used to ourselves being the one who was harmed, like victimizing, that we gain a, a different type of power from that, from becoming righteous, like I will never, let you do this, you know, all of this sort of thing. And I definitely had that for a long time, and that sense of being a victim. And this really helped me get out of that. I didn't have to be there and I don't have to stay there. And yes, can you feel victimized in a moment? Absolutely. Can you have emotions that you might not be proud of, so to speak, because they don't sound perfect? Yes, we all do. So it was really it was really something that just freed me up to really expand even more.
Yeah, and I had a personal instance, when I had to react to someone saying something to me.
Uh-huh.
And I was at the same time detached from the person who was saying or replying to that
Mhm.
friend. And later I said, why did I let the ego say that?
Uh-huh.
I should have, from
Uh-huh.
that perspective, from the back of the avatar, I should have said nothing, or okay, I agree or don't agree, but not reply the way I did. And in fact, I didn't reply to that person. I said something else to those surrounding us, and it wasn't offensive. It
Uh-huh.
was just the fact that kind of I am done with
Uh-huh.
this person, but I shouldn't
Right.
have said that. And it was just the
Uh-huh.
ego reaction in the
Mhm.
moment. But I knew better than that, and again, I shouldn't have done it. And again, when we forgive, then we can easily start self-loving. And again, if we have this idea
Yeah.
that we are creating in the image of love, we cannot love God if we don't love ourselves, because God is also
Mhm.
within us.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. And a lot of the work that I do has that in there. And I think that we are the hardest on ourselves, right? We can be our own worst enemy and we can be very punishing of ourselves as we're parenting, even if we didn't get that type of parenting, because you're raised by many people, right? You're not just raised if I could, as a parent be the only person to raise my daughter, then you know, that I could control all the situations, but you can't. They're so many people, right? There's teachers, there's friends, there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's real news, fake news. There's everything around us that brings us and that parents us. So we have to be very aware of all of that and all of those messages that are in there that kind of get, underneath the surface.
Yes, and I think we can make the distinction between, you said, being raised by the environment. In fact, I think they are being influenced by the environment. We raise them as parents,
right?
even
Yeah.
if the government doesn't want to accept that we are the parents and the government thinks that they have all the rights over our kids, but it's a
Right.
different matter. But
Right.
in the indigenous culture and in old times, the kids were raised by the community. They were raised by
Right.
multiple grandmothers, okay?
Mhm.
Because the
Yeah.
community was smaller and they're all outdoors, and they didn't have the influences we just
Right.
mentioned, the TikTok and the internet and everything else. So
Mhm.
indeed, they were raised by the community. And in these
Yes.
days, I think they are being influenced by outside factors.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's probably more of that now than there've ever been before, but some of the factors were different, they were more immediate and now I believe that, if we talk about social media, it's and even phones, right? Even texting. There's something about that goes right underneath all of your defenses, right? If I say something to you and I'm angry with you and I call you a name, or I said, you're so selfish. I can't believe you were that selfish. At least we could work it out. Like, you're like, no, I'm not. I did this and this and this. And I could go, okay, well, wait a second. Oh, I guess I was feeling this. We
Yeah.
can work it out. But if you write it on my phone, or I write it on yours, it's there forever. And you have there's nothing you can, there's no defense. It's just immediate reaction. And it's a bit of like the Milgram experiment, where you're sending out a shock to someone and you don't know how deeply it affects them. But then you're so angry and reactive that you hope it does. But if you saw immediately what happened, then you'd be able to gauge, oh, I went too far. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I said that to you. I'm so tired right now. And I woke up at 4 and then my kid wanted me to do this and that. And I never got back to sleep, right? We could work it out. But, a text chain or an email chain or a Facebook thing, whatever it is, it's too much. There's not enough communication for us to resolve.
Yeah, the body language is not there, the feelings are
Right.
not there, and
Yeah.
sometimes we type so fast that the speller comes in the way, and it's a different word than what we wanted to say, and then we spend another 5 minutes correcting that mistake. Indeed, it's just brutal.
Right. And I remember learning, I was a psychology major at UCLA, and one of the things that I remember from that education was that words only comprise of 35% of the meaning of any message. So that's all we got. 2/3 of our message is not getting through because we don't know the tone. And all we can do is assume it based on our own experience. Right. And if I think, people are always beating up on me or nobody really loves me, and you say something, but you're kidding, but you text it, I'll be like, oh, how could you say that? Right. And so it's an interesting conundrum that kids today really have to work on. I mean, we have to work on it as adults. They're making and breaking relationships with these. So it's kind of a whole different ballgame, I think, for them. Than at least we know we can call each other and fix it.
Yeah.
They don't as much as we do.
Yes, and I recently read that in fact the alphabet had 48 letters, and it shrank over time. So the vocabulary was much larger before, and it got scarce and scarce. And now we have only 33, as you said, and the vocabulary is not as rich as it used to be, and people are shorting words on a daily basis. And I don't know where are we going to be in 20 years from now, unless telepathy will be the common way of communication,
I know I have, when I look at my text, it's so funny. I'll either have my wife or my daughter, because they'll be like NP and I'm like, oh, that's no problem. Or they have all these other letters and I'm like, I don't know. What is this? I don't know what this is. Can you tell me what this is? I don't know if it's a typo, you know? So it's kind of funny. Even though I've been here the whole time, I still feel kind of out of it.
Yeah. Kiran, you mentioned Theta Healing a couple of times, and you are a
Yes.
master. What exactly is Theta Healing, and how does it work?
So Theta Healing is a technique where you connect to your inner wisdom, that could be God or source for you too, and your subconscious mind, so that you can change really damaging beliefs that are holding you back in your life. So when you think, what we've been talking about, like I'm unlovable, I'm unlikable, nothing ever works for me, right? Um, those sorts of things cause you to make decisions or create interpretations of what's going on in a way that could really harm you and harm your ability to move forward. So you can energetically, with your permission, change those beliefs, and you can also access your trapped emotions. So imagine your traumas, your abandonment, your anger, disappointment, those sorts of things. You can, using that theta brainwave, have your mind talk to your body and release those. And then they get actually replaced with unconditional love and understanding and compassion. And so what happens, it's so great, is that you take these beliefs that were your most disempowering and turn them into your most empowering beliefs. And then you have these emotions that might have been with you for generations, that have become toxic, and you replace them with your most uplifting ones. What happens is you end up feeling better and lighter. You start making decisions in support of yourself, right? And those barriers, those invisible barriers inside of you that keep you from doing what you need to do to move forward, start coming down. That resistance starts coming down. And all of a sudden, you can call those people for a referral. You can speak publicly. You can sign up for an interview. You can do all of these different things that before, for whatever reason, you were afraid to do. You had a lot of resistance, and now you just don't anymore. And so it helps you move forward at a greater clip and with much more clarity and purpose than you've ever been able to do before.
Yeah, and I'm aware that different people are at the different level of blockages and trauma.
Right.
But do
Uh-huh.
you need to go with them through a certain number of sessions, or did you have certain miracles where after one session they had a breakthrough?
I've had both. And this is what I say about this work, because people come to me. I teach classes, like, I don't know if you can see right here. I teach this class called Inner Bully Breakthrough, which is all about healing your inner critic. And so I teach classes like that and about loving yourself and healing money issues. And I also do one-on-one sessions with people. And those happen to be for people who sometimes will come to me like project oriented, like, I don't get along with my boss. I got to fix it. How do we do this? And we'll go and we'll work together until that's resolved. And then there's other people who come to me like a therapist and say, I want to do this while life happens. In general, I feel like I'm being passed up by other things. Other people are doing better than me, and I don't know why, because I'm the rock of the family, but I have to take care of my parents, and I have to take care of my kid, and I have a business, and I'm married, like all these different things, and you're juggling so much that you don't get to give yourself the kind of attention and focus that you give everybody else. And so you feel kind of left behind. And so I work with people. So I have people who have this like instant things that happen. And I'll give you and I always say all healing, and I will make this generalization and you can agree or disagree, or I'm interested in your input, but I believe that all healing goes to the place of the least resistance first. So if you come to me and you say, I can't rub two nickels together, I don't know why, I lose money, right? It goes in one hand, it comes out the other. And we do a session and then something amazing happens. Then even though that was your top thing, you were ready to let go of that resistance and something happened immediately. So I'll give you an example of that. I had a guy come in and I think we just had one session. It was either one or two sessions. And he was in this slump. He was a salesman, and he was in this 3-month slump. He couldn't get out of it. And it was really triggering. You know, when something like that happens, it gets triggered, and then you're snowballing. The snowball goes down the hill in the wrong direction that you want it to. And so we got to the root cause of what was triggering him and what's the original wound essentially. And after that, after those 1 or 2 sessions, he emailed me back. He said, I just sold 400%. I had a 400% increase in my sales, and my company has never seen that in 30 years. And so it was like, yeah, you know, hey, we're doing that. I had, and then I'll give you one that's a long-term thing. So there was a couple that I had that I was working with. Now I was working with them individually, and they were in a very tough place inside their marriage. And it was at that point where they couldn't even talk to each other without fighting. And they had a kid. And so it was really tough because this little girl is like in between her parents. And that's, you know, that's really hard. It's very difficult for kids to see their parents fight. I think it's okay if you allow it to be resolved too, but it was really hard. So the whole family was in extreme stress here. And I worked with them individually because, and you may know this from having a long time, you know, partner, is that we tend to react to the things, any complaint that we have about our partner is something that's probably our issue also, in maybe a little different way, but something. So they were so triggered by each other that I had to really heal what was at the bottom of those triggers, that they felt so disappointed with each other, that they were so angry. What was at the bottom? So defensive. And once I got to the bottom with both of them of this, and we healed this, they started becoming more, you know, it was like a gradual thing. They started getting more understanding. They started listening to each other, and they slowly started to be on each other's team again. And then they just took off. And after a while, they stopped coming because they had achieved their goal, which was they were completely connected again. And their family was this wonderful, you know, lean, mean fighting machine again. It was very sweet.
Because sometimes just going to a regular marriage counselor is not enough. All he knows or she knows is the book and certain rules and procedures. But as you said, in my opinion, they have to go to the root cause, and that's energy healing. That's a lot of other issues that come from their past, and they have to resolve these challenges. Yes, you're right.
I believe that when you have really deep-seated issues, which we all do, because you know, there's patterns that go on in your life, right? You date the same sort of person, your friends betray you, some sort of thing that you haven't been able to fix yet. And when you're in therapy with somebody, you need to be able to, or doing something therapeutic, if you have these deep-seated patterns and you're seeing them in relationships, you need to be able to get to that subconscious level. And or else you're just painting a dirty wall, you know, because it won't go anywhere. And that's what I love about the work that I do, because it's marrying this divine energy, this most loving energy, with being in the deepest place inside of you, which is your subconscious mind. So you're going to change things for the better. You're always going to change them for the better. And you're, you know, and that makes a huge difference.
And in the situation, the example you mentioned that the couple agreed to do this type of work. I mean, both partners agreed to do the work. There are instances when only one partner is willing to do the healing. The other one doesn't believe in this type of work. And they have to be, at least the partner who is doing the work should be aware that she's doing that for herself. There might be no return to a family, to what a family used to be. But at least she's doing the work, she's putting in the effort for her own benefit, for her own safety and sanity.
Yeah, I think there's always self-growth. I remember, here's a funny one. So when I first found Theta Healing, and I just loved it so much, and I was so into it, and my now wife, who was my then partner, is a very conventional person, and we always knew that we weren't quite the same, so that wasn't an issue. But when all of a sudden I was doing this weird thing called healing, right? And so when I was in these practice classes learning how to do this work, I remember talking about, because you talk about what do you want to work on, right? And I'm like, well, I don't like that she doesn't like what I do. And she thinks it's weird. And she thinks, now what does she think of me? And I'm complaining about her. And the person who was working with me said something that I never forgot. She goes, why is it that she has to change in order for you to accept her? And I went, oh, it never occurred to me that it was me in that moment of being so evolved, so healy, so understanding, and here with the universe. It was me. And that totally changed things. And it changed for me, that changed our relationship so much, because it was okay. She could be who she wanted to be. That had nothing to do with me. And I needed to change what my requirements are, because at the bottom of things, are the values still the same? And they were, and they are. And we've been together almost 22 years. So I think that's a success.
Yes.
But that was early key, figuring that out, because it's so easy with your partner to just go, they got this, they got this, they got this, it's too bad they're, with somebody perfect like me, that's like,
Yes.
no. So yeah, that was a trip when that happened.
Yeah, I was and still am lucky with an amazing partner, amazing wife, and I'm the only one causing the trouble in the marriage, and she's very forgiving, and
That's
I'm
funny.
wise enough to admit my mistakes and get humble every time, so we can move forward. So,
oh my gosh,
yes.
well, good for you. I'm sure there might be more than that, but you're very humble.
Karen, how can we increase, or does Theta Healing technique increase our intuition?
Yes, it does. One of the things when we were talking about getting rid of trapped emotions, resentment is a really huge one. Everybody has it somewhere. And I remember my teacher, so the founder of Theta Healing, her name's Vienna Steibel, and she always talked about the more resentment that you let go of, the more intuitive you become. And I've noticed that too, because when I started doing this work, I was intuitive to a certain degree. And I remember going to a couple of psychics in my life before that, not many, but they always said, oh, you're really psychic. And I thought, I don't know. I don't know what that is. But I was very much into the self-help movement. And I've always been someone who I loved wisdom. So I always, practiced and tried to find the wisdom in things, which I think is also intuition. So yeah, when I started doing this work and started letting go of more and more resentments and angers, then I just noticed that it came a lot quicker. And it's very easy for me now to figure out when somebody comes to me, what's the root cause of what's holding them back. Like that to me is just another day. And that was not the case at the beginning.
Yeah, interesting. Are you willing to do a live session now?
Yes, I would love to. I would love to. So you want to do it on everyone who's listening?
Yes.
Okay, so this is how a session is going to be conducted. So I'm going to ask if it's okay. And Claudiu, you're going to be our proxy, so you're going to be saying yes a lot. So this technique, this meditation, everything is up to you. I'm going to ask you questions, and you can say yes. I'll ask you, would you like an energetic download of things like what does it feel like to be completely loved and appreciated, those sorts of things, because when we learn that, then we can find it, right? And we can see it in our lives and experience it. Also, how to and what it feels like to do something. So would you like to know how to and what it feels like to trust your gut? Things like that. Or would you like God's or the universe's perspective, which is the most loving perspective, or your inner wisdom's perspective on a situation, so you can learn what you need to learn and move on from it. So those are or it'll be, would you like to let go of or have God heal the resentment you feel towards so-and-so or towards this or that? Okay. So that's how we're going to go. And you'll just let me know how much time I have. So that's up to you.
15, 20 minutes, I think we are fine.
Oh, okay. All right, sure. That I will look and see. And if what happens is my eyes close, because when you go into the theta brainwave state, your eyes roll back in your head because you're really tipping off into a waking sleep wave. So that's, that time when you kind of go and your eyes, or you get, I call it bus head. You either go like this or this, or you start nodding out. So how about, if it's okay by you, if I could come into your space and come into everybody's space, everyone else will just say yes. either out
Yes.
loud or in their head. But we'll
Yes.
just have Claudiu say it out loud. Okay. And so why don't we start with what is called the basic Theta Healing, which, like I said, is about being loved and appreciated and supported. So would you like, and do you have a word, Claudiu, that do you like the universe? Do you like God? Do you like inner wisdom? Is there a word that you like best?
I accept all of them. God is fine with me.
Okay. All right. So let's let you know then what God's unconditional love feels like. And everybody out there can say yes if they want this. And when you say, yeah, okay. And then that's coming through every cell of your body. There we go. And would you like to know that you're deserving of receiving God's unconditional love?
Yes.
Okay. So let's show you what that feels like. And would you like to know how to and what it feels like to receive the universe's love, unconditional love?
Yes.
Okay. Now, for anybody, sometimes you're going to feel something, sometimes you're not. I asked when I began to do this work to have like visceral reactions or visceral feelings so that I wanted to feel it somewhere. So I could say, like right now, I can feel that in my crown chakra, but just because you may or may not feel anything, and that's all okay. So there we go. I'm just watching that go through. Would you like to know what God's joy feels like?
Yes.
Okay. Go. Perfect. Would you like to know that you're deserving of receiving God's joy?
Yes.
All righty. And would you like to know how to and what it feels like to receive it?
Yes.
All righty. Nice. And would you like to know what the universe's support feels like?
Yes.
Yeah. This one's always a really good. And would you like to know that you're deserving of receiving the universe's support?
Yes.
Okay. And would you like to know how to and what it feels like to receive the universe's support?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Oh, that feels really good. I can feel that kind of coming all the way down my torso. Beautiful. Now let's see what else is here. Would you like to know what unconditional self-love feels like from the universe's perspective?
Yes.
Okay. Terrific. And would you like to know that you're deserving of loving yourself unconditionally from the inside out from this perspective?
Yes.
Would you like to know what that feels like to love yourself unconditionally from the inside out from God's perspective?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. And would you like to know what it feels like to be worthy of God? This is like an old church belief right at the beginning,
Yes.
because that concept was brought in that you have to do things to be worthy of God. And it also goes back further to, if you want to go way back to the caveman days, when they were really afraid of the weather, right? And being attacked by animals. So there was a lot of fear of whatever that was, fear of nature that needed to be appeased, right? So, okay, there we go. It feels really good in there. It's cool. And would you like to know what it feels like to trust your intuition?
Yes.
That it's possible to and it's safe to. There you go. And would you like to know that it's possible to make a mistake without taking it personally?
Yes.
Okay. feels really, that's like really getting in there. And so let's also let you know what it feels like to stand up on your own 2 feet.
Yes.
From God's perspective, knowing that that means that you're receiving from all benevolent sources and that we never do anything alone. There we go. Yay. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see what else is coming. Would you like to know what it feels like to have confidence in yourself from God's perspective and know that that's possible and safe to do so? There we go. And what it feels like to be a completely healthy 28-year-old person.
Yes.
That's a good one. Yay.
I feel like
Yeah. And shows you, oh, here it is. It's 2 things, gratitude and receiving. So show you how to be a good receiver. Because a lot of people, and I definitely get this with a lot of the people who come to me, is that they're wonderful givers and it's a little bit harder to receive.
yes.
And so show you that it's safe for you to receive. Let's show you what it feels like to receive. And understand it's important for you to be able to receive because it's that law of reciprocity, right? In order for you to be able to give, you need to be able to receive too to make that whole thing work. Or else if all we do is give, we're very, very lopsided and become very dissatisfied and disappointed. So let's show you how to give and receive equally and expand your ability to do both from God's perspective in the highest and best way with grace and ease and the most benevolent outcome. Awesome. Yay. Okay. And let's show you what healthy romantic love feels like. That's what's coming in from God's perspective.
Yes.
And that you're deserving of healthy romantic love. How to and what it feels like to receive it.
Yes.
There we go. And how to and what it feels like to have healthy communication from God's perspective, which
yes.
obviously will help you with romantic love and platonic and work relationships. All of that. There we go. Ooh, that's a big one because my head's tingling. I'm scratching my head. There we go. Okay. And let's also show you what it feels like to move forward. And here was another really interesting definition I got from Theta Healing, which was that moving forward is actually bringing more joy into your life. And so show you that it's safe to receive joy and that it's possible to receive joy.
Yes.
And how to and what it feels like to recognize yourself as a joyful person. And there we go. And also gratitude. Here we go. Let's give you what God's gratitude is and what it feels like. Okay. Give you the definition and the feeling of it. And also show you how to and what it feels like to receive gratitude, being a giver. Because this is one of the places that we find hard to receive, right? Thank you so much. It's my job. That's what I do, right? Or, oh, but I love you. Why wouldn't I do that, right? And in a way, it's like you're pushing that away, pushing that gratitude away. Like in some ways, you're undeserving of the gratitude. You're deserving of the gift, of giving the gift, and undeserving of receiving anything back. And so let's just have God change that now. There we go. Nice. I'll just show you that it's safe for you to receive divine guidance.
Yes.
And be able to trust, like we said, trust that voice that's inside of you. And understand that a mistake is just that, a mistake, that you can live without what it feels like to live without taking them personally. And also what's coming up here is failure, because In our society, saying you failed something it feels like somebody dropped an elephant on your head, right? And so even failing a test, right? It feels horrible because we put all this weight on it. So let's just let you know that giving you God's perspective of what failure is, which is just, like you said, a mistake and a learning moment. And that it's possible for you to learn from failure and from other more positive experiences, and how to make failure into a positive experience and what that feels like. And show you how to live without taking failure personally. There you go. Okay. And show you that it's safe for you to move forward and bring more joy into your life now, that it's possible to. And it's possible to receive more from the universe, from all benevolent sources, more financial abundance. Letting you know that money is just another area and energy to love yourself inside of. And that it's safe for you to receive more abundance, all kinds of abundance. I always look at it like abundance is like your whole house, like your soul. You know, you've got your relationship room, you've got your money room, and your career room, and creativity, and all these sorts of things, and health and everything. And abundance, God's abundance, is really turning the light on in every room of your house. There we go. There we go. Perfect. And also show you how to relax, and that you're deserving of that and what that feels like.
Yes.
There we go. And that it's possible for you to relax. American culture, Western culture tends to give you 2 weeks a year to take a vacation, and that you're supposed to, live it up once your kids move out of the house. And I think Europeans have it so much better, and really understanding more about what life is, and having 6 weeks off a year, and having long, languid meals together, and talking, and there's wine involved and good food. It's all good, but there's an experience. And I think with Americans, at least American culture, and I can say from my own experience of it, is that it's work, 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 and then just take a vacation, but then work again. It's just like, it's always about hitting the ground hard and running.
Yes.
And so for anyone who has that, everybody and anyone who has that pattern, let's have God show you what you're meant to learn from that. And that it's okay to let yourself off the hook and allow yourself to rest, and that you'll be far healthier if you do give yourself adventures and give yourself places to rest. And most likely, you're going to make a lot more money and be more successful too, because you won't have all of that inner resentment towards yourself too, because what happens is, right, that we don't allow ourselves to take a break. And when you don't allow yourself to take a break, you get burnt out. And so let's just heal that burnout. That wherever you feel burnout in your life, you can just think about where that is and just have Source heal it. There we go. Wow. And let's show you also just how to have faith in yourself, what that feels like from God's perspective, to have faith in yourself.
Yes.
And restore faith in yourself if there's been a time where you lost faith in yourself.
Yes.
And there we go. And then let you know what it feels like to have faith in life.
Yes.
And show you the difference between having faith in life and having, what is this? And being naive.
Yes.
And show you that you can use God's discernment instead to know what's really going on, to suss it out, right? and still have faith and know that things will turn out the way they're meant to turn out, and you can contribute to that. That your energy and your actions together are what contribute to co-creating the outcome that you desire. And really just to give you guys understanding on that, what you're meant to learn by really creating goals of what would be most fulfilling for you, right? What would bring you the most fulfilling life? Because usually when you aim for that, a whole lot happens because of that, instead of just directly addressing something. It's kind of funny. There we go. And let's show you what it feels like to be proud of yourself and to really acknowledge and show you how to and what it feels like to acknowledge your wins. Yes. Every day, and really focus on what's going right in your life instead of over focusing on what's going wrong, so that you can look at something with God's discernment and say, hey, yeah, this thing isn't working. I'd love to find a solution to that. And there's so much that is working. Look at what is working. So if those things are working, I can finally figure out how to get this one to work, this other thing. And so there we go. Perfect. And that's when we are looking at that bright side of life and still acknowledging the other parts, because we do want to work through those. We do want to create solutions for things that we have yet to find them. And we'll show you how to do that and how to connect to that wisdom to help make that happen. And I think I'm going to end this with what it feels like to ask for help when you need it, because a lot of people feel like they can't do that. And this would be a great place to start being able to ask for it and really knowing what it feels like to be deserving of asking for what you want and receiving it. Yes. There we go. And then we're going to complete this session with a body healing. So is that okay? Would you like a body healing now? Mm-hmm. All right. Know that all this information and energy that came to you comes to you in all languages and all lifetimes, so that it can get into all your files in your subconscious mind. Theta Healing works on 4 different levels. The first one is your core level, which is everything that's happened in this lifetime, your ancestral level, which is everything you came in with, all the experiences of your ancestors. The history level, which is our past life level, and also our collective consciousness. And the soul level is the deepest part of all of those other 3. So this stuff goes really deeply into your life and to everyone who's on your board of directors when you make decisions. There we go. And then let's just bring you back into your body. So you can just imagine, if you're above your body, bring your consciousness back through the top of your head, all the way through your body, all the way down through the bottoms of your feet, down into the ground, so you get that Mother Earth energy. So go down at least a few meters into the earth to get that beautiful, lovely energy, and then bring that back up the bottoms of your feet, all the way up to the top of your head. And now you're back.
Wonderful. Thank you.
How do you feel?
Felt it. I felt it. I mean, I felt it on my crown, on my head. So my head was tingling, my arms and the upper body was vibrating. This is my reaction to this type of healing and energy interaction usually. So thank you. It was great.
Oh, that's really welcome. And let me just tell you that, and for everybody who experiences this, it takes like 4 to 7 days for it to fully process through your subconscious. And it will do that during your dream state, because that's theta. That's the natural dream state. So you'll start noticing that things, or start noticing, excuse me, let me put it to you that way. Just start noticing what's easier and lighter for you. And then just start, feeling grateful for that. And like, oh, look at that. That works. Awesome. Yay. And that'll help you see where you can move forward from the session.
Thank you very much. And I hope everyone will enjoy this session and reach out to you for in-depth treatment and interaction, because I'm sure most of my viewers will need it. Doesn't matter at what spiritual level they are.
Mhm.
We all need to go through these sessions and cycles and clear our body of unwanted energies.
Yes, thank you. This is, I love doing sessions, and I love group work. Is just so wonderful because everybody gets to share, you know, and everyone will take it differently, but they all get to share. It's really wonderful.
Karen, anything else you'd like to share about your programs?
Well, I think that the way that we talk to ourselves is one of the most important things to work on in your life. That we tend to, like I was talking to earlier, tend to be the hardest on ourselves and, you know, be our own worst enemy. And I think that loving yourself is such a central key to this. And I believe that the work that I do really helps you get to that place where you love yourself more and you're more deserving than you've ever felt before about yourself, which ends up bringing, you know, your boundaries into better places and changing the dynamics of your relationships and really moving you forward into more success. And when I talk about success, I think of it as a holistic form of success, right? That you really feel fulfilled in your relationships, you fulfilled that your life is a fun adventure, and that you feel like your health is in good shape, and you're really doing the things that are most meaningful in alignment with you. And the programs that I was talking about, working with, helping people heal their money issues, helping people, you know, heal their inner bully and love themselves more, are just some of the relationships that I feel like are the cornerstone of our lives. You know, ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, with others, with money, and with a holistic sense of a fulfilling life.
Yes.
And I feel, yeah, I feel really grateful. And I just feel really grateful to have this work with me and to be able to share it with as many people as I can. It's just, I thank God every day to be able to do this.
Thank you. And I think we need the holistic approach, because if we have only money or currency in our life,
Right.
and while we leave the family behind, making more money, that's no satisfaction, because when we come back, the rupture might be there. The family might not be the same. They might look into a different direction for their own development. So
Right.
is not a satisfaction. We have no satisfaction in just going after one goal
Right.
and not taking the, as you mentioned, the holistic approach.
Absolutely. And sometimes when you're aiming for something, something else heals instead. And like I said, you know, when you're aiming for a fulfilling life, then sometimes the job appears, right? The money comes, the vacation falls in your lap, all the things that you were trying to get. But when you went towards, I need money, you know, it didn't come because there was such a charge on that, but you had no charge on having a fulfilling life. So all that energy got where it needed to go anyways. So you never know, you know, I always say all roads lead to Rome. You never know how that healing is going to help you, because it's going to show up in beautiful ways and in a myriad of them.
Yes, I made that mistake many years ago, and I was chasing money for the good reason, of course,
Right.
but it still was a unwanted or unnecessary focus, and that didn't bring me the end result, the goal, but the opposite. And I had to
Yeah.
spend many other years to come back to a much better approach, energetically, you know, psychologically, spiritually, and I think and I like to think that now I'm a much better, or I have more wisdom.
Yeah. Right. And like I said, you, when you aim for fulfillment and there's no resistance to it, it will go to those other places that you want. You just don't have to hit the ground so hard in that one spot and just continually pound away at it. You know, it's too much force, right? You got to ease up and just let things, you know, heal things so that you can really receive what you really deserve.
Yeah. Karen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We are approaching the end of the interview. Any final thoughts?
I think that you deserve everything, that you matter, that everything that's happened to you matters. And no one can take your story away from you. And the more you look at your story from God's perspective and the most loving perspective, which is what, I'm very happy to say this work does, that you will gain a whole new understanding and level of satisfaction in your life than you really ever have. So, and I hope that everybody can find that for themselves, because the more we love ourselves and the more we do that, the more we'll take, the happier that we get, we'll just take that out on each other, and that will be a much happier place to be.
Yes, this is the desire of each discussion I have with my guests, that the world will become a much better place. We become much better men and women, and our interaction will be much loving.
Yes, amen to that.
Thank you once again, and all the best with everything you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been an honor to be here.
Thank you. And to my viewers, thank you for watching. Visit spiritualinspired.ca, leave a comment, support the channel if you can, and until next time, love and gratitude.